What's going on, everybody? This is Petey from SupplementReviews.com bringing you a video review today for a new product from MuscleMeds called, well, I guess a revamped one, Bull XMT. This is our new version of their original pre-workouts, Bull. And I guess they took a little work underneath the hood here, did a reformulation with the blend in here to make it, I guess, an overall better product, more competitive with the always changing market in terms of pre-workouts and building on success. So, taking a look at the front of the container here, looks very, very similar to what they had in the past. They didn't reinvent the wheel here, which is okay. I mean, they stick with the red and black labeling, which is always pretty sharp off the shelf there, so they do a good job in terms of marketing. And speaking of marketing, we'll start with the front of the container here. So, it promises to have clinically tested peak ATP, which is a pretty cool ingredient. In a lot of endurance products, a lot of creatines out there will have this featured in there, as well as some pre-workouts such as this. It promises to gain up to 8.8 pounds of muscle and 147% more strength. Alright, that's something that I'll be covering in a bit here. I mean, that's kind of hard to prove. This is a bit subjective depending on the age of lifter, what type of training you're doing, all that good stuff. So, it's a nice little claim on there. I'm sure that there's a study that they can cite that'll support those two things on here. However, don't expect to put on 8.8 pounds of muscle right off the bat just from taking a pre-workout. Just laying that out there. Okay, it promises to lift more weight for more reps, increases muscle force, velocity, and endurance, increases blood flow and muscle pumps, and increases anabolic signaling to activate muscle growth. This is their, obviously, pre-workout, and this is the basic fruit punch flavor. So, with that being said, let's talk about taste and mixability. It mixes really well, whether you put in the water first, then shake it up, or put in the powder first, then add the water, then shake it, or you want to stir it, shake and not stir, James Bond style. Hey, that's completely up to you. It mixes perfectly fine. I didn't really have any problem with it. It had a little tiny bit of foaming on there. My only drawback to the mixing there is the red dye. In the product for eating fruit punch and all, I could have cut back on that a little bit there. But other than that, there's no complaints. It doesn't have a gritty flavor. And actually, I was quite impressed with the taste. Especially because typically I'm not a fan of fruit punch things. However, this one was surprising. Kind of tastes like Hawaiian punch, you know, from when you're a kid. So it has a good fruit punch flavor. So don't be afraid to give it a try. But, you know, fruit punch has never really been my thing. So anyway, with that being said, taste and mixability is perfectly fine. It's very solid, 8.9 out of 10. I'm taking off a little bit there because of the dye. But still, that's not a big deal. The flavor makes up for it, which is surprising because, once again, like I said, I'm not a fruit punch fan, so that, I guess, gets it some bonus points for making me like it. Now, more importantly, let's talk about the ingredient profile. Taking a look at what they did here underneath the hood. Serving side here, you're going to max out 1 scoop. There's really no need to go above that, according to them, and, you know, obviously our label instructions. Mixed with 8 to 12 ounces of water. 1 supplement scoop here has 12 grams. There's 20 in per container, so you got 20 workouts here in this container, which might bring back the value a little bit, but we'll talk about that in a bit here. 5 calories per scoop, less than a gram of carbs. 10 milligrams is a very, very, very low for sodium. And the key selling point for this product in terms of increasing muscle endurance is the peak ATP molecule in here. It has it in here at what I guess they call the clinically validated dose to 400 milligrams, which simply means that it follows the research. That's good. They aren't going to pixie dust something in here. They aren't going to throw in something with the kitchen sink method. So when they included the ingredient, I'm glad to see that they based it on what is supported here in terms of the research. So that's good. 400 milligrams, I double checked. We're good to go there. Excellent stuff. Now, included in the big blend here, about 8,664 milligrams, or just over 8.5 grams for those of you that don't want to do in the thousands. You're going to take a look at the different components here, starting with the Power Amp Cre3 Beta creatine complex. Within this creatine blend here, it's got the classic, it's got the creatine monohydrate, it also has creatine magna-power, also as in the form of magnesium chelate, and it's got creatine gluconate, and of course, beta-alanine for that endurance factor. I like the blend here of creatine. You got your creatine monohydrate, the tried and true, oftentimes put in peroxidase Creapure. I'm not sure what version they have in here, however, I'm assuming it's hard to mess up creatine monohydrate. Unless you have an unpure form where it causes bloating. If you're getting bloating from creatine monohydrate, chances are you have a crappy version of it. Let's be real. Water retention is overrated. Creatine magna-power, I like it. It's a very fastly absorbed creatine that's in a lot of products. Even straight up creatine products themselves, alone for pre-workouts, will have this component blended in just because of the fast effectiveness. That's good stuff there. Creatine gluconate and the beta-alanine, pretty standard C and pre-workouts these days. And once again, that's good stuff. There's a lot of stuff here displaying more ATP to the muscle cell. That's what muscle functions on, is adenosine triphosphate. And what essentially creatine does is provide more of that fuel to your muscle cell. So that's good stuff. Moving on from there, you got the sudden impact neurotropic energizers, including glucorolactone, caffeine anhydrous, let me say mecunopurins extract at 60% L-dopa, vanillinine, and of course huperzine, and a little bit of anaceptine. So I like the stimulant blend here. It isn't over the top in terms of making it buzz to the ceiling. However, when we talk about this in terms of effectiveness, I was quite surprised. And mainly I'm going to put that to the huperzine. So I like the stimulant blend here. I like the focus blend for that sudden impact neurotrophic energizers. It just sounds cool when you say it like that, so get over it. And last but not least, the uptake optimizers, which MuscleMeds is known for in terms of, I guess, some of their product, their trademarks name, DecaDrive, and that's what they have listed in here, just the rapid technology system, which has dinoic acid, PEG-8000, and PEG-3350. And of course, as you can see in a lot of products here, bioperine, which is, or bioperine, my bad. Piper nigrum extract, for those of you that aren't quite sure exactly what it is. Good gosh, brain fart early in the day. Anyway, I like the overall blend here. I like what they did with it. It's pretty pedestrian in terms of ingredients, which is good because while they don't go I guess above and beyond in terms of adding all those newfangled stuff you're seeing in a lot of pre-workouts pop up on the map, what they do here is in the stuff that they do choose to put in it, you know, it isn't going to be something that's watered down. They don't put a bunch of extra stuff in there to make it look good on a container, to promise the benefits and then leave you lacking in terms of delivery, just because they underdose a product, so that's good. So overall, I was actually quite impressed with the blend here. There are, honestly, full disclosure, better pre-workouts on the market in terms of profile. However, this one won't leave you lacking. I was, once again, very impressed for a big company like this to go back to the drawing board and come up with something that has some science behind it, that has some solidity behind it. So for ingredient profile, like I said, it doesn't go above, it doesn't go beyond. However, it's very solid. It's going to get an 8.7 out of 10. Okay, it's pretty basic. However, what they do is they put ingredients in here that do well. So that's good stuff. Now for effectiveness. Looking at the ingredient profile here, I'm handy-dandy hanging on the back, you know, as they tend to do. I wasn't expecting a ton. And this looks more to me like an endurance and a performance formula with all the creatine in it. There's no saying how much beta-alanine is in there, although, you know, chances are everything you're taking these days has beta-alanine from your pre to your intra to your post-workout because of the studies behind it for muscle endurance, so that's good. But in terms of this, I was actually very impressed. Endurance did increase. I didn't see an 8.8 pound, you know, leap in muscle mass here. Maybe if you're on a bulk and you're pounding through your calories, you might gain that 8.8 pounds, 147% strength. Once again, you know, that's pretty subjective. On how they're figuring that. And also keep in mind too, those of you experienced lifters out there that have been lifting for a while, you're not going to see those 8.8 pounds jump in terms of muscle gain, especially in a product that gives you 20 workouts, and also your body, you know, it's starting to get up toward that ceiling there. So that's my biggest complaint in terms of effectiveness, is what they promise on front of the container there. Now don't expect to gain 8.8 pounds or 104% strength, you know, increase in strength. However, I was very impressed with it. I had a good amount of focus, which was surprising because I'm a pretty intense stim junkie. However, I got some great workouts in on it. I wasn't sweating buckets. There wasn't anything in there that's going to make you really hot at the gym, which is kind of nice. I used this, probably the mid-April through however it was, you know, shortly into May, you know, using it every day, 20 scoops per container there. Had a good workout every time, so that's good stuff. Endurance did go up in terms of strength increases. You know, if you got a structured training program, it should be increasing anyway. I didn't notice anything above and beyond. However, you know, it must have a little more pop, but hey, when you add creatine in there, that's what creatine does. So to me, that's a good telltale sign that creatine is working, whether it's psychological. We don't have the lab testing to prove that, so obviously, you know, it's very subjective. But overall, in terms of effectiveness, I was happy with it. Didn't have any crappy workouts, didn't make my stomach upset, which is huge, because sometimes pre-workouts, they can And that effect, you know, you're not going to have as great of a workout if you're worried about an upset stomach. So in terms of effectiveness, it's golden. It doesn't go above. It doesn't go beyond. I have quite a few favorite pre-workouts, top 3 is what I'll narrow it down to in terms of effectiveness, profile, just intensity, all that good stuff. This doesn't crack the top 3. However, that's a very big billing. However, I wouldn't hesitate to try it if you get a chance to. I was actually, well, once again, I said, just from being impressed alone in terms of how it actually delivered compared to what I thought it would, if we're being completely honest here. I have no problem whatsoever recommending giving it a try should the situation arise. So for effectiveness wise, it was solid. I was happy with it. It's going to get an 8.9 out of 10, which is way more than I thought it would be. Now, in terms of value here, my biggest drawback here, I realize that there are some expensive ingredients in here with the ATP. Peak ATP in here. That's not a cheap product here. You got a bunch of different creatines. However, there's no promise as Creapure. There's no promise that you have in carnosine beta-alanine. You know, so I'm not sure their sources in terms of having everything like, you know, from the source for the product that they put in here. And also there's only 20 servings per container. That's a little small compared to most pre-workouts, especially in a product that doesn't, I guess, necessarily, I wouldn't classify it as a non-concentrate. The scoop is still pretty small. It's a single scoop, one made 8 to 12 ounces of water in a concentrated formula. It is effective. However, I gotta take some points away here in terms of value. While it does deliver, while it does have good ingredients listed, I know. I wonder how much the markup is compared to, you know, cost for manufacturing compared to actual sale price. So in terms of value here, it is going to be a little bit lower than I would anticipate. Maybe if you bump to 30 servings, it's going to be, you know, a very good solid value here. However, when, you know, times are tough for a lot of people out there, 20 servings per container is something to consider. Maybe bump it up a little bit, add 10 extra scoops, call it good, and you know, raise its value here. However, it's going to suffer a little bit here. It's going to get an 8.1 out of 10. So it does get knocked down a little bit. The ingredient profile makes up for that a little bit. However, once again, 20 servings per container. Honestly, I don't know how long that can float in a market with so many pre-workouts out there at a very competitive price point. So overall, in terms of my rating for MuscleMeds Bull XMT, it had some solid 8s across the board, from lower to high upper range here. Overall, it's going to get a solid 8.7 out of 10. I was surprised by it. It turned out way better than I thought it would be. To me, looking at the ingredient profile, it's kind of a ho-hum you know, performance blend there. I'm more the stim junkie type with pumps, but I did enjoy it, especially compared to what I thought it would be. Once again, and you know, I have no hesitations or reservations about recommending giving it a try should the situation arise. Obviously, that 20 servings instead of the 30 is going to hurt a little bit. However, I guess it does make up for it with the solid peak ATP in there, as well as like some good endurance properties in there for explosive muscle power. So that's been my review for MuscleMeds Bull XMT, the new formula of Bull from MuscleMeds. Once again, taking a look at the front container here. Once again, you can see, boom, got the nice little packaging. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, guys. This has been Petey from SupplementReviews.com. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Do a lot of good stuff on Instagram, Twitter, G+. Subscribe on YouTube. Keep up to date with SupplementReviews.com. Win some free stuff. Hey, who knows? You might have some free Bull XMT coming your way if you play your cards right. You never know what we're going to give away. And once again, guys, thank you for all you do as a community, for making SupplementReviews.com what it is. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, everybody.